Hi everyone, Stephen Hurd with Keller Williams Real Estate here in Orange County, California, and today I'm going to handle 3 buyer objections for you. Let's go ahead and get started. Objection number 1 from a buyer. We already have an agent that we're working with. Okay, so you're talking to a client and they tell you, or they come right up and say, hey, we already have an agent we're working with, but thank you so much. So there's usually 2 things that happen here. 1, they really are working with an agent, and that's a good agent. Or 2, they just say that kind of as a reflex no, right? They're not actually working with an agent, but they just kind of say that as a reflex no. So how do you handle it when someone tells you that they're working with an agent? Well, what you want to do is you want to determine how strong their relationship with that agent is. So let's go ahead and get into it. You already have an agent. That's great. I'm curious. How's the process going? So that's my first opening question. How's the process going? That tells me, number 1, are they working with a really good agent? Or number 2, could they use my help? Second question, how long have you been searching for a home? If they say something like, oh, I've been searching for a home for a year now, that's a red flag. I know that they probably need a better agent. Number 3, have you seen any homes that you've liked? I want to get an idea of what their criteria is and know if I can find them that right home. Question number 4, how many offers have you written? How did you happen to find this agent? So I asked them, how did you find the agent that you're currently working with? Do you know what their track record is for saving clients time, energy, and money? That's a great question to ask someone who says they're working with an agent. Hey, the agent you're working with, do you know their track record for saving clients time, energy, and money? Normally they're going to say, no, I didn't even think about that. Awesome. What's important to you in the agent that you work with? So I asked this follow-up question to get an understanding of, hey, what's important to you in the agent that you're going to be allowing represent you when you purchase? This is going to tell me all the things that are important to them so that I can use that to help them set an appointment. Last question I'll ask is, would it hurt to comparison shop? I'm basically getting them to admit that comparison shopping would actually help them. So if they say, hey, I've already got an agent, I go through all those questions, I say, hey, what's important to you in the agent you work with? And they say, well, we need somebody who's responsive, we need someone who's knowledgeable, and then I'll say, awesome, would it hurt to comparison shop? And they'll say, well, no, of course it wouldn't hurt to comparison shop. Great, that's when I go for the appointment. When would be a good time to meet so that I can share with you how I save buyers time, energy, and money in the process? Do weekday afternoons or weekends work better for you? So again, if they say that they're working with an agent, my goal is to, rather than handle that objection, to ask 5 or 6 questions so I can gain an understanding of how good is the agent they're working with, how great customer service are they receiving, and then I find out what's important to them, and I use that to set an appointment with the client. So that's the first objection that we're handling today. The objection number 2 from a buyer is when a buyer tells you, oh, we don't need to talk to an agent, we're 3 to 6 months out from buying. Listen, the people who are 3 to 6 months out from buying are absolute gold. Those are the people that you want to stay in touch with because they're going to be buying in about 6 months, and they're telling agents that they're not ready right now, and so most agents are ignoring them. But you want to step into that relationship and follow up with them and be top of mind when they're ready. So here's my objection handler for that. You're 3 to 6 months out from buying. That's great. Has anyone shared with you the 4 phases of having the perfect home buying experience? So I tell them, hey, you're 3 to 6 months out from buying. Good for you. Has anyone shared with you the 4 phases of having the perfect home buying experience? At this point, they're like, no one's shared that with me. What does that mean? Awesome. Well, the first phase is to get educated. The more accurate information you have about the home buying process, the better decisions you'll make. Because there's so much information to go over and so much to process, most clients like to do this part about 3 to 6 months from buying. That way they feel confident when they start the searching process. The second phase is the searching phase, and that's the best part. That's when we go out and tour homes on the market based upon your specific criteria. Most clients generally view between 3 to 15 homes before landing on the right one. Because they took time to get educated, it helps clarify which homes are good deals and which aren't. Does that make sense? So at this point in the script, I use a tie down and I say, all right, does that make sense? That way I make sure they're still engaged because this is kind of a wordy script. The third phase is writing the offer. Once you've identified the right home, then we will take a careful look at the market conditions in the neighborhood to help determine an offer price. We look at what's sold recently, how many offers there are on the property, how well it really matches your criteria. And once your offer is accepted, we move to the final phase, which is managing the escrow process. In that process, it can last anywhere between a few weeks to a few months, depending on what works for both you and the seller. During this time, we handle all of the paperwork, the inspections, the financing, and many other things. The more you know what to expect, the better, the less stressful the process will be. Does that make sense? So I use that again to remind them, the more you know about the process, the better things are going to go for you. Because I want to meet with them and have an educational consultation up front. As you can see, having the right information up front can actually help you make better decisions and have a smoother process through each phase. Based on your time frame, it looks like it makes sense for us to get together so that we can complete the education phase. What time is generally better for you? Do weekdays or weekends work better? So in this script, again, this is a very wordy script, so if you watch the whole thing, thanks for bearing with me. But you're basically saying, hey, are you familiar with the 4 phases of the perfect home buying process? You lay out the phases and you build some value into getting a good education around the process. And then you close with, awesome, when can we meet and make that happen? So the last objection handler we're going to go over today is when a client tells you, we just want to view open houses for now. You know, this one really kind of frustrates me because it's like they're saying, hey, we don't need you. We just kind of want to view open houses for now. Don't bother me, right? And what they're not realizing is that very few homes do open houses. Of the entire market, of all the homes that are available, there's a really small percentage that have open houses in California. So let's go through this script. I can appreciate that you just want to view open houses right now. And sometimes that's the best and easiest way to view homes. So right here, I'm actually affirming them and getting on their side of the table. I'm saying, awesome, sounds like what you're doing makes sense. I get where you're coming from. You know, some of our clients have commented that during the beginning stages of their search, they really didn't want to bother an agent and just wanted to view open houses. Is that kind of how you feel? You know, most people just... Sorry, someone keeps calling me persistently. Probably a salesperson. So let's see here. A lot of times when people are in the beginning of the searching phase, they actually don't want to bother an agent. So that's why they don't want to work with an agent to look at homes and meet for a buyer consultation, because in their mind they think, well, let me go and get an idea of what's on the market before I waste a bunch of real estate agents' time. They're actually trying to be polite to you. So I asked them, is this how you feel? I can completely respect that. You know, I'm sure that when you're searching, it's important for you to see the best of what's available, right? In other words, you don't really want to limit your options, do you? And they'll say, well, of course I want to see what's the best of what's available, and of course I don't want to limit my options. Great. You know, the reason I ask is because in our market, only about 30% of homes have open houses each weekend. That means that 70% of homes are not held open at all. For whatever reason, the sellers might not be comfortable with people coming in and out of their home, and they only allow showings accompanied by an agent. If I knew of 5 or 6 really nice properties that didn't have any open houses, would you be at least open to touring them to see if any fit your criteria? And of course they're going to say yes. Great. What times work better for you? Weekdays or weekends? So I'm just, you know, again, asking them some questions, sharing with them the truth, which is, you know, again, I'm in Orange County, California, and at any given weekend in the city my office is in Mission Viejo, there might be 250 homes for sale, but there might only be about 100 or maybe 75 open houses at any given weekend, right? We're talking about the properties that that the agent is lazy and doesn't want to hold it open. So there's lots of homes that don't get held open for whatever reason. So those are 3 buyer objections that we just handled right now. Please comment below with any questions you have or anything you would add to this. How would you handle these buyer objections? We went over, we just want to view open houses, we're 3 to 6 months from buying, and we already have an agent that we're working with. Thank you guys so much for watching, and do me a favor, make sure to invite people to the group. If you know anyone that you think would benefit from some of the content in the group, make sure to invite them so that we can have them be part of the community and get more role play partners. Thanks so much, and hope you guys have a great Monday.